up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen. Everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will also exist. The selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates wars, and hatred is born in order to protect love. There are nexuses, causal relationships that cannot be separated.
Gara, let it go. I don't want to say this, but you know how they see you. You're a weapon of terror. Seriously, leaving us and joining the regular troops is not going to be an easy thing. They're full of Jonin who think pretty poorly of you. And most of the villagers, they're as terrified of you as they've always been.
I know that. I've always known that doing nothing at all will almost certainly bring even greater pain. I know what I must do. I must clear my own path. And perhaps then, the day'll come. The day will come when I can be like him. I want to be part of this village, so I'm aiming for the title of Kazekage as a shinobi of the sand.
Gara.
I will work hard and connect to the people of this village. Watching Naruto Uzumaki has brought me clarity. Until I met him, my ties to others brought only pain and sorrow. But he was always pushing me to redefine those ties. I think I finally understand the suffering and sadness of life, the joy. These are feelings that can be shared with those around me. It was Uzumaki. He's the whole reason my eyes have opened. When we fought, we connected. He's known the same pain I have, and he taught me that I can change the path my life will follow. One day, Kankuro, I'd like to become something precious to others too, not just to be viewed as some hideous weapon. But as the sand's next Kazekage.
I wish we could have gone on a trip like this with Mother. She could fight, couldn't she?
Yes, she fought beautifully.
So, know any good stories to pass the time?
What kind of story?
I don't know. Mother always had stories. Weren't you told any when you were a boy?
There was a man I knew of long ago. His stories were brief and purposeful.
Sounds fun. Do you remember any?
There was one that concerned a hare and a tortoise.
Like the witch's house?
Unlikely.
So what happens?
They wager on a race between them. The hare is too confident of victory and foolish, while the tortoise is steady and disciplined. The tortoise wins.
You haven't told a lot of stories, have you? Father, you ever know anyone else who heard voices?
I knew desperate men at sea who, when our supplies ran dry, would quench their thirst by drinking seawater.
They swore the sirens, evil creatures singing to them from nearby islands, were in fact their wives and daughters calling them home. They endangered the crew, steering us toward the reefs.
How did you fix them?
We threw them overboard.
Oh. Well, good thing I didn't drink any seawater. Right?
Yes, it is.
How about one more story?
One more. There was a horse. The horse sought vengeance upon his enemy, a stag. But he could not kill the stag alone. The horse met a man, a hunter, and made a deal. He took the man's bit and bridle and allowed him to ride in a saddle on his back. Together, they killed the stag, and the horse tasted victory. But the hunter would not release the horse and made a slave of him.
So getting revenge cost him his freedom. Hope it was worth it.
It was not.
Do we have time for another story?
A short one. There was a tale of a frog. His pond had dried up, so the frog and his son left to find a new home. They found a well. The son saw the water and made to jump in, but the father stopped him. He saw the well was deep, and once inside they would not be able to escape if the water dried up again. Wisely, they moved on.
That's it?
Yes.
That's really not a story. If the son jumped in, it would be a story.
Then he would be trapped and starve while the father watched helplessly.
See? That's a story. Want to try another story? Can't be any worse than the last one.
Very well. There was a young man who was caught stealing and condemned to die. His mother came to visit his prison. She was a kind woman who could only give love. But her son, the thief, met her with rage and bit off her ear.
What? Why?
Because the boy had always been a thief, and his mother had taught him only love and nothing of consequences. Had he been taught discipline instead, he might have lived longer.
Sure, but her ear, that's not right. Got another story?
Very well. There was the story of the mother crab, who scolded her son. She told him he should walk forward, in pride, not sideways as he always did.
But she's a crab too. You should say, sure, I'll look forward as soon as you show me how.
Yes, he did say that. That was the story.
I got it. Got another story?
Very well. There is a tale about a woodsman. He asked the trees of the forest for a branch to make a handle for his axe. Instead, the trees gave him a young sapling so they could keep their limbs. The woodsman made his axe, and then he returned and chopped down the oldest trees in the forest.
Just because trees are old doesn't mean they're smart. So, why'd you want to name me Atreus? I know it can't be for a god.
No, he was a soldier, a Spartan.
A great warrior?
All Spartans are great warriors. We trained from birth. Our lives were discipline, duty, battle, and death. Life was grim, and we greeted it grimly. But Atreus of Sparta was unlike the rest of us. He wore a smile even in the worst of times. He was happy. He inspired us to hope that though we were machines of war, yet there was humanity in us. Goodness. When the day came for him to lay down his life in battle, his sacrifice saved countless others and turned the tide in our favor. I carried him home on his shield and buried him with all the honors of Spartan custom. His memory was a comfort in dark times.
Wow, you actually told a good story. Maybe you missed it.
What's this all about? Sorry, but I knew you wouldn't want to sit still for a lecture, so I figured I had to pin you down. Let it go. You've got to forget about revenge.
What?
Believe me, in this work I've met a lot of guys who feel the way you do. Trust me, for those who follow the path of revenge, it never ends well. You'll only tear yourself apart. And even if you succeed and you get your revenge, what will you have then? Nothing. Emptiness.
Shut up! What makes you think you know anything about it? It's easy for you to talk. You have no idea!
Easy. Just try to calm down.
Maybe if I was to kill the most important people in your life, everyone who's ever meant anything, maybe then I'd listen to you. Because maybe then you'd have some idea how I feel.
It's an interesting theory, but I'm afraid you're a little late to put it to the test.
Here. What does it say?
The runes symbolize the three Nornir,
Nornir.
the Fates.
The Fates. No good comes from them.
Okay. It's sad the elves can't work things out. Alfheim's such a beautiful place, but war makes it ugly.
You see with the eyes of a child. In war, a soldier sees beauty only in the blood of his enemy. The rest of him is lost, sometimes never to return.
You know about war, don't you?
Wars are fought for two things, survival or advantage. Battles may be won by the better soldier. Wars are won by those who are willing to sacrifice everything to ensure victory.
I was ready for them this time.
I saw.
So I should keep my expectations low, but always expect an attack?
It is a delicate balance. Expect the worst, assume nothing, and always anticipate an attack.
Sure is a lot to remember. Father, you ever know anyone else who heard voices?
I knew desperate men at sea who, when our supplies ran dry, would quench their thirst by drinking seawater. They swore the sirens, evil creatures singing to them from nearby islands, were in fact their wives and daughters calling them home. They endangered the crew, steering us toward the reefs.
How did you fix them?
We threw them overboard.
Oh. Well, good thing I didn't drink any seawater. Right?
Yes, it is.
Alright. Say it. I told you so.
I told you so.
You are naive, foolish boy.
This is true as well. But do not take your disappointment out on me, boy. Take it as a lesson.
Yes, sir. Got any more short and purposeful stories from it?
Very well. There was a horse. The horse sought vengeance upon his enemy, a stag. But he could not kill the stag alone. The horse met a man, a hunter, and made a deal. He took the man's bit and bridle and allowed him to ride in a saddle on his back. Together, they killed the stag, and the horse tasted victory. But the hunter would not release the horse and made a slave of him.
So getting revenge cost him his freedom. Hope it was worth it.
It was not. When are you angry?
What?
With me. When?
Oh. I guess sometimes when you don't think I can do something, but I can.
It is not always easy to know what.
It's okay. I get it. I'm little. Where's that whetstone, I wonder? I know she's really powerful, but you really think the witch can bring the head back to life?
She seems competent in her craft, and we have nothing to lose.
If she can't bring it back to life, can we keep the head?
No. But you may feed it to the fish.
Okay.
In the name of gain and profit for one's nation and village, shinobi have hated and hurt each other for many years, from the first to the third great ninja wars and the conflicts in between. All of that hatred cried out for power, thus I was born. In the past, I was hatred, and power, and a Jinchuriki. I hated this world and all its people, and thought about destroying both. But then, a single shinobi from the Hidden Leaf Village stopped. Each one of us bears the pain of having been hurt by the Akatsuki. Now there is only Shinobi.
Is that you, Hashirama?
Yes.
I guess that neither you nor I were able to achieve what we wanted.
It's never that easy. Our job is merely to do all that we can do while we're alive. And then bequeath the rest of it for future generations to accomplish.
You are so naive, just as you usually are. And you have always been the optimist. Although, perhaps that is the proper way to be. The dream that I had has been squashed, but your dream is still relevant now, and it continues to live on.
We were both too hasty. We didn't need to reach our dreams ourselves. It was far more important to cultivate those who would come after us, to whom we could entrust our dreams.
Which means I would have failed anyway. After all, I have always hated having somebody standing behind me.
When we were just kids, you once said to me, "We are shinobi after all. We never know when we might die." And you also told me that for neither side to die, both of them would have to reveal what's inside of themselves, hiding nothing at all, and to drink together as if they were brothers. But the both of us are about to die. So right now, we have a chance to drink together as old war buddies.
As war buddies? Huh? Well then, I suppose that would be okay.
Listen, Lee. If you wish to be freed of this suffering, then you're going to need to come to a decision.
Do you mean that I should be prepared to give up on my dreams?
No, because if you lose your dreams, you'll undergo pain far worse than this. You know, the two of us really have quite a lot in common, Lee. Without our ninja way to guide us, you and I would never survive. Get the apparition, Lee. You've worked hard, Lee. There's no doubt in my mind your surgery will be a success. You have the power to shape your own destiny. And on the 1 in a million chance that something goes wrong, I will die right along with you. Ever since the day I met you, my whole Nindo has been to make you the most splendid ninja possible. I promise.
Use your head.
Well, what about you, Zabuza? You gonna let him do that?
Be quiet, you fool. Haku's dead. What does it matter?
What? You mean you could just stand there and watch him get treated like a dog? You and Haku were together for years. Doesn't that mean anything?
You don't understand the way of Shinobi. I merely used him just as Gato used me.
Huh?
Now it's over. His usefulness is at an end. The loss of his strength and skill, yes, that means something to me. But the boy, nothing.
If you mean that, you're an even bigger rat than I thought!
Okay, that's enough. Calm down, Naruto. He's not the enemy. Not right now.
Ah! Shut up! Far as I'm concerned, he's enemy number 1! Why, you ungrateful! After everything he did for you! Haku lived for you!
Is there someone who's precious to you?
You were the most important thing in the world to him!
For me, there is only one person who matters, and my purpose is to protect and serve him, and that purpose is what gives me my strength.
And he meant nothing to you? Nothing at all?
The way of Shinobi is very difficult for me.
While he was sacrificing everything for you, you never felt anything at all for him?
But I will do anything to see that his dream is fulfilled, even become Shinobi if I must.
And if I become stronger, does that mean I'll become as cold-hearted as you are? He threw his life away. And for what? For you and your dream?
I want only to make his dream come true. That is my dream.
You never let him have a dream of his own, but he didn't care.
I was happy.
And you just toss him aside like he was nothing! A broken tool! Man, that's so wrong! So wrong!
You talk too much. Cut deep. Deeper than any blade. While he fought you, his heart was breaking in two. You see, Haku was always too soft and too kind. He felt pain and sorrow, and now, curse him, I feel them too. And something else. I feel content that this is the way it ends. Well, cat got your tongue. Are you so surprised to discover that I'm human? Even Shinobi are human. No matter how hard we try to escape that simple fact, we always fail. Well, at least, I have failed.
This will just keep happening. And all of your flippant words and ideals will become lies. This is the end result of ideals and hope. This is reality. What is there here for you in this reality? Your mother and father are gone. Your master, Jiraiya, too. And if you keep standing against us, you'll continue to lose your friends one by one. This shall become a world where no one who acknowledges you will exist. The only thing that awaits you is your worst nightmare, which you know very well. Solitude.
You have become almost exactly like the old me, Obito.
The two of us are both seeking the very same thing. To achieve the peace that Jiraiya-sensei envisioned. You and I are the same. We're both motivated by our desire for peace and justice. You strive for your own sense of justice, and I strive for my own version of it. So do you finally comprehend pain now? Unless you come to know the exact same pain, you can't truly comprehend someone else. And even if you comprehend them, you still may not truly understand them. It's a vicious cycle of hatred, with our future being the same as our past. So we believe that human beings simply can't understand each other, and they never will. The shinobi world of ours is ruled by hatred, and by hatred alone.
You asked me why I'm doing all this. But even if I told you why, I doubt very strongly that the knowledge would change anything at all. But let's say that I take the time to explain it to you. What do you think would happen then? My goal is to fulfill the dream even Jiraiya-sensei was unable to achieve. What I want is to create peace and bring about justice. Oh, I see. That is noble of you. That would be justice. However, what about my family? My friends? My village? They suffered the same fate as this village at the hands of you Hidden Leaf Ninja. How is it fair to let only you people preach about peace and justice? Once, the Land of Fire and the Hidden Leaf had grown too big. To protect their national interests, they forced feudal clans to wage war against each other, and profited from it. Otherwise, the people of the villages would have starved. As it happened, our little nation and its villages became the battlefield where the great nations waged their war. Each time they did, our nation was ravaged and laid to waste. After many such battles, the great nation stabilized, but our smaller nation suffered, and it barely recovered. You and I are both seeking the very same thing. We both want to achieve the peace that Jiraiya-sensei envisioned. You and I are the same. We're both motivated by our desire for peace and justice. The justice that I have delivered against the Leaf Village is no different from what you are trying to do to me. Everyone feels the same pain when losing something dear. You and I have both experienced that pain. You strive for your justice, and I strive for mine. We're both just ordinary men who have been driven to seek vengeance in the name of justice. And if one comes to call vengeance justice, such justice will only breed further vengeance and trigger a vicious cycle of hatred. Right now we live in such a cycle. I know the past and can foretell our future. It is the same as our history. So we believe that human beings simply cannot understand each other, and they never will. The shinobi world of ours is ruled by hatred, and hatred alone. So, Naruto, how would you confront this hatred in order to create peace? I want to know what your answer is.
I don't know. I don't have an answer.